عودة إليكم مشاهدينا الأعزاء، ومرحبا بمن انضم إلينا من طلاب وطالبات دبلوم التعليم العام في درس على الهواء، وتحديدا درس اللغة الإنجليزية. معنا الأستاذة فاطمة بنت عبد الله البريكي، معلم مادة اللغة الإنجليزية. أهلا وسهلا بك أستاذة فاطمة.
أهلا أستاذ.
يعطيك العافية والصحة.
الله يعافيك.
لأن نحن قليلا تأخرنا عن الطلبة، فمباشرة الكلمة والصورة لك، تفضلي.
إن شاء الله. Good morning everybody. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Before we just go into the new topic today, which is unit number 3, I would like to cover this page because last time we didn't have enough time to cover it. Plus, I'm going to show you the answers of the grammar of last episodes, and thank you very much for your efforts, all the students who have sent me your answers, and as you saw, I posted all the answers there, even you can check them, and here I'm intending to do this for the rest of you. Let's go first of all for the answers of the grammar. Last time we covered actually many grammar tasks, and whether here we have it in the workbook on page 32, so this is the number of the page. Okay, now let's go to the answer. Now here, as you can see, we have the preposition. I want you all to open page 32, task number 2, and check the answers with me. Number 1, the answer is off. Okay, then we have here number 2, the answer is on. Number 3, it's off. Number 4, with. Number 5, again we have here with. Number 6, we have by. 7, out of. 8, we have in. Number 9, we have on. 10, with. 11, from. And 12, we have here out of. 13, it's in. 14, the answer is for. Okay, so be careful, the answer here is for, it's not on. And here we have 15 with, 16 in, 17 in, 18 on to. Then if we just go to the other task is in page 33, and it's task number 3. Okay, the answers are these. Number 1 is at. Number 2, it's on. Number 3, inside. 4, onto. 5, from. 6, we have here off. Then we have this task also in page 76, and it's task number 1. If we just go to the question here, this one, the question that we did together, but some of them I ask you to do them by your own. So number 1, whether it is to check or checking. Then here we have number 2, to finish. Number 3, to work or working. Number 4, sailing. Number 5, we have here speaking. Okay, and number 6, we have to have, and number 7 here we have helping. Now let's move to this page 76, task number 3. Okay, number 1, the answer is off. Number 2, it's with. Number 3, from. Number 4, on to. Number 5, for. And number 6, with. Okay, now this is according to your request, where you ask me to show you the answers because you are facing difficulty at home. You cannot find a reference to check the answers if they are correct or wrong. Now let's go to this, the beginning of unit number 2. The beginning of unit number 2, actually we got this page, and if we just go to the questions that we have here, what potential hazards does each picture show? So now if we just look at all these pictures, actually when we look at the word here, this word, which is potential, actually the word here potential focuses on the idea of something could be possible to happen. And if we look at this word, which is hazards, actually hazards, as we got to know it from last episode, it means the dangers. Okay, now if we just look at the pictures quickly, and at the same time we are going to focus on this question, which is how could this hazard be prevented? Okay, how can we stop it from happening? Okay, let's see. We can see here in picture A, the baby. I will try to convey the message in a very simple way so that you can get it quickly. So here we can see the baby, and the baby here actually is working, or the toddler is working with the electricity. So one thing is that whether we can keep our children at home or kids away from electricity by monitoring them. Okay, And if we just look at number 2, the danger here, okay, the danger here in picture number 2 is that we have the medicine, and the medicine shouldn't be available for children or kids or at their own reach, so that they can reach it or take it quickly. So we should keep them in a very safe place, and sometimes we can keep them in cupboard where they are high, so that children cannot take them. If we just look at picture C, we can see here again the kid, and she's playing with the van on the cook. If we just look at the cooker here, and if there is fire, so this is very dangerous. It may fall on her and she may get, for example, burned. So we have to keep our children away, and even the kitchen shouldn't be open all the time for children or kids at home. Let's look at this one here. If we just look at D, we have here the knives. So knives shouldn't be at the reach of our kids or children at home, so that they can go and take them. They may harm themselves, or maybe cut their hands. So by looking at the pictures generally, actually we are having here some possible dangers that may happen at home, okay, or around us. So we have to be careful for providing safety at our homes or houses, okay? So this is just general idea of the first task. Now let's go to the second task. As you can see, I have provided you the answers, so you can follow me and check them even in your book. If we just look here at this one talks actually about barbecue safety. So now you have a general idea if you have this text, because this text actually gives you information about barbecue safety. If you have it in writing question to write about barbecue safety, or how can we make barbecue safe inside our homes. So here we have a general idea of this. The most important thing is that we have here the verbs as we got to know them last time, infinitive or gerunds, the verb which is infinitive, or the gerund itself. Okay, if we just look at this one here, the first one, many people enjoy having barbecue at home. Barbecues are fun and a great way to relax with family and friends. So they are considered to be fun, and even you can have them as an activity if you want to relax with family and friends. Barbecues are safe. When could they be safe? If you plan them properly, okay? But unfortunately, they can sometimes be the source of serious accidents. So barbecue could be safe. Sometimes they could be the source of serious accidents as well. The most common types of accidents involving barbecues are burns, so we can have this. Another thing is scalds and other injuries related to fire, or injuries caused by sharp objects such as knives. Okay? If you are planning to have a barbecue, there are several things you can do to prevent accidents. First of all, consider carefully where you are going to put your barbecue. Avoid placing it near fences, sheds, and trees, or other things which could catch fire. Never attempt, so the answer here is attempt, to light a barbecue in an enclosed space. Remember to check that your barbecue is in good condition, especially if you haven't used for a long time. And here we have, remember to check that your barbecue is in good condition, especially if you haven't used them for a long time. Start preparing your barbecue early to ensure. Now, ensure means to make sure. Ensure, it means to make sure it is at the right temperature by the time you are ready to cook. Never pour petrol onto a barbecue, as this is extremely dangerous and can cause explode in your face. When you start to cook, use tools with long handles. Don't try moving the barbecue until it has cooled down. Keep an eye on the barbecue at all times. At the end of the evening, make sure the barbecue is completely extinguished. Okay, now these are the answers for this task. I hope that you are following us and even you are writing the answers.
لو حبيتي أستاذة فاطمة من مساحة أعرض ممكن تغلقي نافذة الكتب هذه اللي موجودة عليها.
This one?
يسارك بإمكانك.
Okay.
نعم إغلاقها حتى تحصل.
I want to have this one first. From here.
أيقونة كتب فوق على اليسار.
This one. Sorry.
خلاص بإمكانك تواصلي إذا ما واضح. بإمكانك تواصلي إذا كانت الصورة غير واضحة أو الأيقونة غير واضحة عندك. أعتقد في فولدر موجود فاطمة، ملف باسم فاطمة. أيوه.
Okay, this one. Now let's go to today's episode. Actually, today we are covering theme number 3, unit number 3. The pages are, in the course book we have 38, 39. In the workbook we are going to work with 2 pages, 34 and 35. I hope that all of you are watching us with your books, okay? So we have already now covered unit number 2, everything in unit number 2. Now let's move to unit number 3. Yalla, be ready and see. Unit number 3 actually here talks about be prepared, okay? And how can people be prepared for certain things that may happen in their life, especially if these things are not safe or are not good or are not positive, okay? Let's look here. If we just look here at the picture, actually this picture is taken from Oman, and especially when Jono attacks or hits our lovely country, okay? And here we have some questions related to the picture. If we just look at the first one, we have got here, is Oman prone to natural disasters? If so, what kind? Now let's look at the first question. Okay, if we just look at the first question, we have here the word prone to, okay? Prone to. Is Oman prone to natural disasters? If so, what kind of natural disasters? We have to check the meaning of the word prone to at the beginning. Let's see what does prone to mean. Prone to means likely to have or be affected by something, okay? So the meaning of the word prone to, it means likely to have or be affected by something. And prone to, it could be followed whether by a noun or a verb. Now let's see these 2 examples so that you can be able to know the meaning of the word more. Let's see example number 1. She is prone to losing her keys. If we just go to the second one, since he was a boy, he has been prone to headaches. Okay, so here the word of prone to, it means likely to have or to be affected by something. Got it? Now let's move to the question. Is Oman prone to natural disasters? Actually, when we talk about natural disasters, we are talking about floods, about volcanoes, and about hurricane, and many other things that can come to a certain country, okay? So is Oman one of them, yes or no? And what kind? If we just remember the thing that happened to Oman, we got encountered to do things. One of them is Jono, the other one is Fet. So these 2 natural disasters actually, they attacked our country. And we can consider this one of them. Let's go to question number 2. And this is the focus here. I want you to focus on this question because this question actually, it may come in the writing. How can people prepare for flood or cyclone? Okay? Now let's go to the question and see the answer for this question. The most important or the most easiest way to answer certain questions, whether they are informative or whether they are evaluative, where you to give your opinion or whether you want to provide information, is just to have the mind map. Let's look at the mind map. How can people prepare for a flood? People actually can do many things to prepare for a flood. Okay, so these are the key words here in the question. Number one, people can move cars to a higher ground, because here we are going to have flood, and flood means extra water or water that we have it too much, and it can also cover the land areas. Okay, let's look at number two. Pack essential items such as warm clothes to take with you in case you have to evacuate your home. And evacuate means to leave your home at any time, where they ask you to go outside your home because staying at home is considered to be dangerous. So you will need to pack essential items with you. And one of the essential items you may have, like warm clothes, sometimes you need to take food, whatever you want to take with you. And sometimes, which is people, they care about their precious stuff and they prefer to take them with them when they are leaving home. Okay, let's see number three. Check for flood warnings on the local radio, because now the flood is happening in your country, so you need to check with the local radio any news or any warnings or anything from them, because they will give you advice, warnings, and so on. Let's go to this number. Prepare an emergency kit with items such as first aid box, torch, water, and medicine. So you need to have this emergency kit. You need to think of first aid box, torch, water, and medicine. Why do you need the torch? Because maybe the electricity will not work at that time of the flood. Let's go now to the last one. If you have to evacuate your home, shut windows. So if they ask you to leave your home and stay in another place, so you have to shut the windows of the home, lock doors, turn off gas and electricity, and here also we have water supplies. You have to make sure that they are turned off and you have locked the doors and shutting the windows. So in this case, you are preparing yourself for the flood. Okay, now let's go to the second one. The second question here actually is about the cyclone. How can people, here we have people, prepare for a cyclone? How can they prepare for a cyclone? Number one, prepare a stock of candles, torch, medicine, food, and water, because you will need these things with you. Number two, close shutters, board up windows, and lock doors. So again, you need to have this one. Remain indoors until you are advised it's safe to go out. Actually, nowadays, because of this coronavirus disease, we are indoors. What does it mean? That we are inside the home. We don't go out a lot unless there is something necessary, because the same thing is with cyclone. We have to stay at home and we shouldn't leave our home unless they advise us now it's safe, you can go out. Let's go to number four. Stay in the strongest part of the house and keep away from windows, because this is cyclone, so we have to stay in the strongest part of the house and far away from windows. Okay, so in this way we have now answered question number one and also question number two. Now you can take this with you. These are just suggestions from me, and for sure you can bring more ideas to answer the question of how can people prepare for flood, or how can they even prepare for a cyclone. Now let's move to the vocabulary words that we have here. Actually, we have here many words, and these words are focusing on natural disasters. Okay, we will go for the meaning and then we are going to answer the questions below. Let's see the words that we have here. The first word that we have here is the word hurricane. Now, in British English, they pronounce the word as hurricane. In American English, they pronounce it as hurricane, okay? And it means a violent wind that has a circular movement, okay? So this is violent wind and it has circular movement. When we talk about circular movement, actually we are talking about moving in the shape of the circle. Let's go now to the flood. Flood means large amount of water covering an area that is usually dry. And we got to know this. How can we prepare for it? I have already shown you. So it's the large amount of water covering an area that is usually dry. Okay? Let's go now to number 3. Number 3, here we have the cyclone. And what is cyclone? It means a violent tropical storm. Okay? And if we go to this word, which is the word avalanche. So the pronunciation of the word is avalanche. What does it mean? It is large amount of ice, snow, and rock falling down the side of the mountain. So avalanche as a natural disaster, it's related to ice, snow, and also rock when they just fall down the side of a mountain. Then we have this word. This word here is typhoon. Okay? And typhoon means a violent wind that has a circular movement found in the West Pacific. Okay, so you can find the typhoon in this area. It's like violent wind, and again it has also the circular movement. Let's move now to this word. Now this word here is tsunami. Okay, tsunami. And there is another pronunciation for this word, which is tsunami. So we have tsunami or tsunami. So two pronunciation for the word, and it depends whether it is American English or British English. What does it mean? It means an extremely large wave caused by a violent movement of the earth under the sea. So this is extremely large wave caused by violent movement of the earth under the sea. So we can relate this to the waves, to the sea, okay? Now let's go to this word. The word actually that we have here is the word tornado. And what is tornado? It means a strong, dangerous wind that forms itself into an upside-down spinning cone and is able to destroy buildings as it moves across the ground. Okay? So it's strong, dangerous wind that forms itself into upside down. So tornado is famous for moving in upside down way. Okay? And not only this thing, it comes to destroy the buildings as it moves across the ground. So it destroys the buildings as well. Now let's move to earthquake. Earthquake means a sudden violent movement of the earth's surface, sometimes causing a great damage. Okay? And sometimes people, they said that in some areas in Oman, they not same as like the biggest case of the earthquake as a disaster, but they feel it like somehow like something is shaking, not in the strongest way. Other countries actually they have it in a very massive way where great damage happened to the buildings there. And here we have the word here. Actually, this is a phrase, and this phrase is formed of two words. The first word is volcanic, and here we have eruption. So let's see each one separately. Volcanic actually is relating to or made by a volcano. So it is relating to or made by a volcano. If we go to this one, eruption, it means an occasion where a volcano explodes and flames and rocks comes out. Okay? It's the case or the occasion when a volcano explodes, also it flames, and then the rocks come out. So these are the words that we have here. You can just check them and see them then later on, and even you can write them. So the words that I have just discussed with you are the same as these words. Now let's see the answer of these questions. In which natural disasters is there a strong wind? So we got to know that in some natural disasters we have strong wind. Where can you find the wind? Actually, we can find the wind in hurricane. Also, we can find it in cyclone. Another thing, we can find it in typhoon. And also we can find it in tornado. I have got a friend who is a teacher, always loves to use this word, tornado, when she describes people. Okay? Now here we have the answer for the first question, A, C, E, G. Okay? I hope that you are following with me and writing the answers as well. Let's go to question number 2. Which two disasters would be unlikely to happen in Oman? Why is this? So from the things that we have here, the disaster that we feel that it may not happen in Oman is D, which is avalanche. Why? Because we don't have that much level of snow that can come on the streets and so things. So this one here is related to the areas or countries where they have this thing, because this one here is related to the snow, as we have just seen. And also another thing is volcanic eruption. And this is because of the nature of Oman as a country, and if we go to geography. So we may not have these two things, which is volcanic eruption as well as avalanche. They may not happen in Oman, or unlikely to happen in Oman. May Allah protect our country. Now, let's go to the text that we have here. This text actually talks about cyclone Jono, okay? And this picture, if you just see here, this is from Matrah, where the amount of the sea level or the water goes to the street or the roads even. Let's see the text that we have here. And actually, if we just look at the text that we have it here, this one, okay? This text is from the course book again. Let's see the text. Sometimes cyclones come to Oman, and here we have example of cyclone Jono that comes 2007. A powerful cyclone formed in the west of the Indian Ocean and reached Oman on 6th of June. This cyclone, known as Cyclone Jono, took Oman by surprise. So people didn't expect to have this one in that case. It brought wind speeds of over 130 kilometers per hour. Then here we have this word, torrential rain, torrential, torrential. So now this is the pronunciation of the word, torrential. And when we talk about torrential rain, we actually are talking about heavy and fast rain, okay? Heavy and fast rain, torrential. And high water. Cyclone Jono caused enormous destruction to land and people. When we look at this word, enormous, actually we are talking about very huge or very large. When we are talking about destruction, we are talking about things that are being destroyed, okay? To land and people. Over 70 people died. So this is the number of people who died in Jono. And according to official sources, the estimated cost of the damage was between 1.25 hour and 1.5 billion Omani riyal, okay? And here we have Oman's response after Jono. Immediately after Cyclone Jono, the government began providing emergency aid to those people who had been worst affected, especially those who had lost their homes and or only source of income. When we talk here about income, actually we are talking about the money and the source where people are working for a certain, for example, job to have the income. So the income is the money they get from that job. Over 230 built houses were made available. Additional help was provided by government agencies such as Ministry of Social Development as well as the Oman Charitable Organization. The Royal Oman Police, with the help of other organizations, rescued many people. And here we are talking about helping, providing help from flooded wadis and the rooftops of houses. They reopened roads and repaired the infrastructure. When we talk about the infrastructure, actually we are talking about the basics that we have services in a certain country, okay? Like we have the road, streets, buildings, and everything, electricity. So all these are considered to be one related to infrastructure. The Omani public, especially young people and university students, made great efforts to help with clean up operation and assist those in need. In need means those who need help, okay? About 200,000 tons of waste. When we talk about waste, we are talking about rubbish, were collected and removed. Thanks to the close cooperation between government and public. So we have seen the government and public working together in Jono actually. And Omani people, they were a very good example of cooperation. Much of damage was successfully repaired within about 10 days. Services and telecommunications were restored in many areas and traffic was soon back to normal. By the end of June, over 90% of the service network and system had been restored. Okay? Now let's go to the related question. If we go to the
ممكن قبل أن نذهب إلى هذا السؤال نأخذ هذه المكالمة مع الطالبة ريم.
طيب.
تنتظرنا على الخط. ريم السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
يعطيك العافية يا ريم. متابعة الأستاذة فاطمة؟
وعليكم السلام.
حياك الله يا ريم. تفضل أستاذة فاطمة معك، تفضلي بسؤالك.
أيوه.
وتابعينا بس خفض على صوت التلفاز. خفض على صوت التلفاز يا ريم. استمعي
أيوه.
للأستاذة فاطمة السماعة، تفضلي.
Okay.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
How are you, Riem?
I'm fine.
How are you doing so far?
Very.
Are you studying, following us?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any question, Riem?
Yes, Miss. I have one question.
Okay.
Teacher, we have two types in the exam final about writing.
Yes.
Two types. The first type يعني email. The second type information.
Yes, informative writing.
Yes, but me, I want to ask you about information writing.
Okay, informative writing. Yes?
Yes, information. Miss.
Yes.
How to write?
You want to know how to write it? Yes, okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Reem, first of all, for calling us and actually for following us here. Regarding informative writing, actually, I'm planning to specify an episode separately to talk about informative writing, and this one could be by next week, inshallah, okay?
Inshallah.
So next week, inshallah, we are going to have a separate episode on how to start or write with informative writing. Okay, Reem?
Miss?
Yes?
Miss, I have a suggestion.
You have what?
Idea.
Okay.
Can you take for all students grammar for subject English.
Grammar
Grammar.
questions.
Yes.
Do you mean
All
the
the
one
time.
that we took last time?
Yes.
I have already showed them the answers. Did you see the answers?
Yes, I see, but the ask it not like ask exam paper.
They are not like the exam paper.
Yes.
Actually, in the final examination, you are going to have multiple choice question, like options, and you have to choose or put a circle on the correct answer, okay?
Okay.
And in the book, the one that we did actually last episode is the same, is exactly the same, where you have to choose the correct answer. So in grammar and vocabulary for the final exam, you are not going to have completion with letters. You are going to have multiple choice. You have 4 options, and you have to put a circle on the correct answer. So the one that you have in the book actually will prepare you for the final exam. Another thing, Reem, I want you to go to Zawiyati and try to take the questions from there for the previous years, okay?
Yes, me all the time I see that already.
And yes, and when you go to Zawiyati, take the questions that are going to be in this year final examination, which is multiple choice. Because you have a question, you have to complete the letters. Do you remember this one?
Yes, yes.
Completing letters is not going to be in the final exam. You are going to have multiple choice like options, and you have to take the correct answer.
Okay.
Okay, Reem?
Oh, yes.
All the best, my sweetie. All the best.
شكرا يا ريم. خالد تفضل بسؤالك. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
حياك الله يا خالد، تفضل.
إذا ممكن تحل نماذج من الاختبارات السابقة بدل شرح الدروس اللي ما دخلت الاختبارات.
Inshallah, we are going to have some questions of the final exam as well, Khalid.
إن شاء الله.
And the book is very important because many things come from the book in the final exam. If you just compare the final exam that you have it in semester number 1, the topics, the questions, the writing questions, they came from the book. Because in semester 1, you had a question which is related to, in the writing, to write about, for example, the best trip you have ever had in your life, yes? And the topic of trips actually come from the book. And even when you go to the grammar questions and even the vocabulary, everything now comes from the book. Yes, in the past, like before 6 or 7 years, there was a gap between the final exam and the book. But now there is a big and strong relationship between the books and the final exam. So you have to focus on the final exam and you have to practice, okay? You have to practice at home. When you finish studying, for example, if you have studied unit theme number 1 and theme number 2, go to the final exam and try to practice reading, for example. Because here we can give you the guidelines on how to answer reading, how to answer listening, how to answer writing, but it's your role at home to practice this. And you have to remember, Khalid, as much as you practice, as much as you will be able to get excellent marks in the final examination. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. شكرا يا خالد. إذا الكتاب والامتحان والتطبيق. هذه خلاصة إجابة الأستاذة فاطمة. ناخذ أيضا مريم. السلام عليكم. حياك الله يا مريم، يعطيك العافية والصحة. متابعة للأستاذة فاطمة؟
طبعا.
تفضل بسؤالك، تستمع إليك.
عندي سؤال أو
لو تسمحي بس يا مريم تخفض على صوت التلفاز، الصدى واصل عنا.
أستاذة لو سمحتي نبغى يعني تعطينا المواضيع المهمة اللي في الكتاب اللي ممكن فينا أراكم.
Yes. Mariam, did you watch me the last episodes when the program started?
أيوة طبعا.
If you could see, for each episode I take from the unit or from the book. Each time we are focusing on the book, we are trying to take the topics that might appear in the final exam. For example, today I highlighted on two things, which is how can you prepare for flood, how can you prepare for a cyclone, okay? Now, if we just continue the things that we have today, you will see that there is another question which is related to disaster. I mean, has Oman, for example, had an experience of a disaster or natural disaster? Yes, we have. So you may have a question similar to this one, related to the idea that we have here. Or, for example, questions related to safety, okay? So put these things in your mind and try to link them together and watch us. Every time you see the mind map with me, it means this could appear as a writing question.
Actually, I didn't understand today how can people prepare for a flood. I didn't understand that a really topic.
Yes.
Which will have an exam or not just like example.
Yes. This could be as a question like what we have seen, or it could be, this question could be formed in a way where you have to write about it in the writing as well.
Also, teacher, can you put the word meaning in English and in Arabic, because we didn't know the meaning, the exact
you want again the meaning in Arabic?
No, the next time, not today.
Okay, inshallah, because I did it last time. Okay. اوكي مريم.
شكرا جزيلا لك يا مريم، وكل التوفيق لك ولجميع زملائك ايضا وزميلاتك. نشكرك ايضا بدورك استاذه فاطمه. نعرف ان لديك ايضا مزيد من الاسئله والشرح، لكن وقت الدرس انتهى، فان شاء الله الدرس القادم سنكمل ما
ان شاء الله. ان شاء الله we are going to continue all these things ان شاء الله by the coming episode.
الاستاذه فاطمه بنت عبد الله البريكي، معلم ماده اللغه الانجليزيه، شكرا جزيلا لك.
عفوا.
يعطيك العافيه.